She wore a uniform worth $20. The woman shouting at her wore a diamond necklace worth $2 million. It was supposed to be a standard Tuesday night at Manhattan's most exclusive restaurant, but when socialite Vanessa Smith publicly humiliated a quiet waitress, calling her illiterate and worthless, she didn't know who she was actually talking to. She didn't know that the girl holding the tray wasn't just a server. She was the only person in the room who held the key to the Smith family's darkest secret. What the waitress did next didn't just get her fired. It silenced the room, destroyed a dynasty, and left the billionaire husband begging for forgiveness. You will not believe how this ends. The air inside L'Obsidian, the crowning jewel of Manhattan's culinary scene, always smelled of money. It was a specific scent, a mixture of aged mahogany, white truffle oil, and the metallic tang of chilled vintage champagne. For Maya Brooks, it was the smell of exhaustion. Maya adjusted the collar of her starch-white shirt, wincing as the fabric rubbed against the sunburn she'd gotten waiting for the bus that morning. She was 24, with eyes the color of dark coffee that missed nothing, though she usually pretended not to see anything at all. In the service industry, invisibility was a superpower. If you were invisible, you didn't get yelled at. If you were invisible, the rich patrons spoke freely, spilling corporate secrets and illicit affair details as they poured their Pinot Noir. "Table 4 is yours, Maya," Gavin, the floor manager, whispered urgently, shoving a leather-bound menu into her hands. Gavin was a good man, but he lived in perpetual fear of the clientele. "It's the Smiths, Rowan and her." Maya felt her stomach drop. Rowan Smith was the CEO of Smith Holloway, a tech conglomerate that practically owned half the skyline. He was generally polite, a man who tipped 25% and looked through you with tired grey eyes. His wife, Vanessa, was a different species entirely. Vanessa Smith was a former runway model who had married into the billions and defended her territory with the ferocity of a cornered tigress. She was known in the tabloids as the Ice Queen of the Upper East Side, but the staff at L'Obsidian had worse names for her. "She's already sent back the water because the ice cubes were too cloudy," Gavin hissed, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Be careful, she's in a mood." Maya nodded, taking a deep breath. She needed this shift. She needed the tips. The tuition bill for her final semester at Columbia University was sitting on her kitchen counter, a terrifying red number that kept her awake at night. Nobody at the restaurant knew she was a doctoral candidate in forensic linguistics. To them, she was just Maya, the girl who could balance 5 plates on one arm and never complained about double shifts. She walked out onto the floor, the plush carpet swallowing the sound of her sensible black shoes. The restaurant was dimly lit, the ambience designed to make everyone look 10 years younger and twice as rich. At table 4, the best seat in the house overlooking Central Park, Vanessa Smith was already holding court. She was wearing a crimson dress that looked like it had been poured over her body and a diamond necklace that caught the candlelight aggressively. Rowan sat opposite her, staring at his phone. Finally, Vanessa snapped as Maya approached. She didn't look up. She was inspecting her manicure, her nails painted a sharp, violent red. "We've been sitting here for 3 minutes. In Europe, we'd have an aperitif by now. But I suppose expecting European standards in this city is a fool's errand." "Good evening, Mrs. Smith." "Mr. Smith," Maya said, her voice steady, practiced. "My name is Maya, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you with—" "I don't care about your name," Vanessa interrupted, finally looking up. Her eyes were blue and cold, like glacial ice. "I care about efficiency. We are celebrating my husband's merger tonight, assuming his incompetent legal team doesn't ruin it. I want the Dom Perignon 08, not the 12. If you bring me the 12, I will have you fired before the cork hits the floor. Do you understand?" "Vanessa," Rowan murmured, not looking up from his phone. "Relax." "Don't tell me to relax, Rowan. You know how important appearances are," she hissed at him, then turned back to Maya. "Well, why are you still standing there? Write it down, or is your memory as short as your skirt?" Maya's skirt was regulation length below the knee. She didn't flinch. She pulled out her notepad. "1 bottle of Dom Perignon 2008. And for appetizers?" "I want the escargot," Vanessa said, speaking rapidly now, testing her, "but I want the garlic butter on the side, not drowned in it." And tell the chef if he uses parsley instead of chervil, I'm sending it back. And Rowan will have the oysters Rockefeller, no breadcrumbs. Maya wrote quickly, her shorthand neat and precise. She had spent the last 4 years analyzing handwriting patterns and syntax for her thesis. Taking an order was muscle memory. Got it, Maya said softly. Read it back to me, Vanessa commanded. Maya paused. This was a power play. It always was. The 2008 Dom Perignon, escargot, sauce on the side, chervil specifically. Oysters Rockefeller, no breadcrumbs for Mr. Smith. Vanessa narrowed her eyes, looking for a crack in the armor. Finding none, she waved her hand dismissively. Go, and be fast. I'm already bored. Maya turned and walked toward the kitchen, her heart hammering against her ribs. She was tough, but Vanessa Smith had a way of making you feel like dirt on the bottom of a shoe. Maya didn't know it yet, but the bottle of champagne she was about to retrieve would be the catalyst for the worst night of her life, and the greatest victory she would ever know. Inside the kitchen, the noise was deafening. Pans clashed, chefs shouted in French and Spanish, and the heat was oppressive. Order in, Maya called out, pinning the ticket. VIP, the Smiths. Don't mess it up, or she'll eat us alive. Tony, the sous chef, rolled his eyes. That woman needs a hobby, or a soul. Maya went to the wine cellar, the cool air soothing her flushed cheeks. She found the 2008 vintage. It was dusty, heavy, and expensive, $200 a bottle, more than her rent. She cradled it like a baby, polished the glass with a linen cloth, and took a deep breath. Just get through the night, she told herself, 3 more hours. Then you can go home, study for the linguistics exam, and forget people like Vanessa Smith exist. She was wrong. She wouldn't be able to forget Vanessa, and very soon, Vanessa would never be able to forget her. When Maya returned to the table, the atmosphere had shifted. Rowan had put his phone away, but he looked paler, his face sheen with a layer of sweat that had nothing to do with the temperature of the room. He was drinking water rapidly. Vanessa, conversely, looked triumphant. She was typing furiously on her own phone, a smirk playing on her lips. Maya presented the bottle. Dom Perignon 2008, Mrs. Smith. She showed the label. Vanessa barely glanced at it. Open it, and don't pop it. I hate that sound. Maya performed the service perfectly. The cork sighed out with barely a whisper. She poured a taste for Vanessa. Vanessa swirled it, sniffed it, and took a tiny sip. She paused for a long, agonizing, theatrical second. Acceptable, she said. Maya poured the glasses and stepped back to the shadows to wait. She watched them. It was a habit from her studies, observing body language, looking for the unspoken syntax between people. Rowan looked like a man walking to the gallows. Vanessa looked like the executioner. You have to sign the papers tonight, Rowan, Vanessa said, her voice low but carrying in the quiet acoustics of the room. The board is meeting tomorrow morning. If the assets aren't transferred to the charitable trust by midnight, the tax implications are messy. I know, Van, Rowan said, his voice cracking. Are we sure this is the right way to handle the merger? Hiding the assets in the foundation? If the SEC looks into it. The SEC isn't going to look into a charity for literacy, Vanessa scoffed. Stop being a coward. I've handled everything. The paperwork is foolproof. I wrote the bylaws myself. Maya's ears perked up. Charity for literacy, the Smith Foundation, she knew it. They were the ones who had just cut funding to the public library program in the Bronx, a program her younger sister utilized. Excuse me, Vanessa's voice snapped Maya back to reality. Vanessa was holding up the menu again. I've changed my mind. I don't want the risotto for my main. It's too heavy. Maya stepped forward immediately. Of course. What would you prefer? I want the sole meunière, Vanessa said, but I saw on the special card that you have a white truffle edition. I want that. Write it down. Maya reached for her pad. Certainly, sole meunière with the white truffle supplement. Wait, Vanessa said, a cruel glint entering her eye. She reached out and snatched the notepad from Maya's hand before Maya could resist. What is this? Vanessa asked, staring at the page. Maya froze. It's my order pad, ma'am. Vanessa held the pad up for Rowan to see. Maya's handwriting was a unique blend of cursive and shorthand symbols, a system she had developed for her linguistics thesis to note phonetic sounds quickly. To the untrained eye, it looked like gibberish, a series of loops, lines, and strange glyphs. "Look at this, Rowan," Vanessa laughed, a high, tinkling sound that silenced the nearby tables. "Look at these scratches. It looks like a chicken walked across the page with ink on its feet." She turned her gaze to Maya, her smile vanishing. "Can you not write English?" "I use a shorthand system for efficiency," Maya explained, keeping her voice level, though her face burned. "It ensures I don't miss any details." "Shorthand," Vanessa sneered. "It looks like the scribbles of a toddler. Or, oh my God." She covered her mouth with a mock gasp. "You can't write, can you?" The restaurant went quiet. The ambient music seemed to stop. "Excuse me?" Maya asked. "You're illiterate," Vanessa announced loudly. She wasn't asking, she was performing for the audience. "Rowan, look at her face. She's embarrassed. This girl can't write. She's just memorizing things and scribbling nonsense to pretend." "Vanessa, stop," Rowan muttered, looking around nervously. "People are staring." "Let them stare. I'm paying $300 for a piece of fish. I expect the person serving me to have passed the 3rd grade. Vanessa stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. She loomed over Maya. "Is that why you're a waitress? Because you're too stupid to get a real job?" Maya stood her ground. She was 5'5", while Vanessa was nearly 6 feet in her heels, but Maya didn't shrink. "Mrs. Smith, I assure you I am quite literate. I have taken your order correctly." "Prove it," Vanessa challenged. She grabbed a linen napkin and a Mont Blanc pen from her purse. She slammed them onto the table. "Write Saule Meunier with white truffle right now, in proper English, in cursive." It was a trap, a humiliation ritual. If Maya did it, she was dancing like a monkey for a coin. If she refused, she looked incompetent. Maya looked at the pen. It was a Meisterstück Klassik. Beautiful balance. "I don't need to prove my literacy to you, ma'am," Maya said quietly. "I am here to serve your food, not to take a spelling test." "Ha!" Vanessa threw her hands up. "She refuses, because she can't do it. Gavin." She screamed the manager's name. Gavin came running from the front desk, looking terrified. "Mrs. Smith, is everything all right?" "No, everything is not all right." Vanessa pointed a manicured finger at Maya's face, inches from her nose. "You hired an illiterate moron to serve us. She can't write. She's probably messing up orders left and right. I want her gone. Now." "Mrs. Smith, Maya is one of our best." "I don't care," Vanessa shrieked. "Get her out of my sight. She's dirty, she's stupid, and she's ruining my appetite. If she isn't out of this building in 2 minutes, Rowan will buy this building and turn it into a parking lot. Won't you, Rowan?" Rowan looked miserable, but he nodded weakly. "Just, please handle it, Gavin." Gavin looked at Maya, his eyes full of apology. "Maya, maybe you should go to the back, just for tonight." "No," Vanessa interjected, "not to the back. Fired, now." Maya looked at Gavin. She looked at Rowan, the billionaire who wouldn't meet her eyes. And finally, she looked at Vanessa. Something inside Maya snapped. Not in a violent way, but in the way a heavy lock finally clicks open. She had spent years studying language, power dynamics, and the hidden structures of communication. She had spent the last 6 months researching the Smith Foundation for her thesis on deceptive syntax in corporate philanthropy. She knew things. She realized, looking at the papers spilling out of Vanessa's open Goyard tote bag on the floor, that the universe had just handed her a loaded gun. "I'll leave," Maya said, her voice projecting clearly, her diction suddenly shifting from the humble server to the articulate academic she really was. "But first, I think there is a misunderstanding about who in this room struggles with reading comprehension." "Excuse me," Vanessa laughed, incredulous. "Are you talking back to me?" Maya reached into her apron pocket. She didn't pull out a weapon. She pulled out her phone, but before she used it, she picked up the napkin Vanessa had thrown on the table. "You asked me to write something," Maya said. She took the Mont Blanc pen. The room was deadly silent. Even the chefs in the open kitchen had stopped moving. Maya wrote on the napkin. She didn't write Saule Meunier. She wrote a single sentence in perfect, elegant calligraphy. She slid the napkin across the table to Rowan. Rowan looked down at the napkin. His face went from pale to ghostly white. He dropped his fork. It clattered loudly against the china. "What is it?" Vanessa demanded, looking at her husband. "What did the little idiot scrawl?" Rowan looked up at Maya, his eyes wide with genuine terror. She wrote the account number, Rowan whispered, the hidden one, in the Cayman Islands. The silence in Lobsidian was heavy, a physical weight pressing down on every shoulder. A waiter 3 tables away had stopped pouring water midstream, the carafe hovering over a glass. Vanessa Smith stared at her husband. She had never seen Rowan look like this. Rowan was a man who negotiated billion-dollar acquisitions while playing golf. He was a man who had stared down federal regulators without blinking. But now, looking at a linen napkin scrawled with blue ink, he looked like a man who had just heard the trapdoor open beneath his feet. "What do you mean, the account number?" Vanessa hissed, snatching the napkin from Rowan's trembling fingers. She squinted at the numbers. To her, they were just digits. But the sequence, 4490-221X Zurich, made her blood run cold. It was the account they used to pay off the zoning inspectors for the new waterfront project. The account that, legally speaking, did not exist. "Who are you?" Vanessa whispered, looking up at Maya. The arrogance was still there, but it was cracking, revealing a sharp edge of panic underneath. "Did the FBI send you? Is this a sting?" Maya didn't answer immediately. She took a step back, folding her hands calmly in front of her apron. The illiterate waitress posture was gone. In its place stood a woman who radiated a terrifying kind of intelligence. "Gavin," Maya said, her voice cool and authoritative. She didn't look at her manager, but he jumped as if he'd been tasered. Yes, Maya," Gavin stammered. He was holding a termination slip he had instinctively grabbed from the back office, but now he crumpled it behind his back. "I think Mrs. Smith would like to retract her previous statement about my employment," Maya said, her eyes locked on Vanessa's. "And I think Mr. Smith would like to order a bottle of still water. He looks like he's about to faint." "Get out," Vanessa snarled, standing up again, trying to regain the physical advantage. "I don't know who you are, you little spy, but I will have you arrested for invasion of privacy, for harassment." "Sit down, Vanessa," Rowan barked. The room gasped. Rowan Smith never raised his voice at his wife in public. It was the first rule of their curated marriage. Vanessa froze, her mouth open in shock. "Rowan? Sit down," he repeated, his voice shaking with suppressed rage and fear. "And shut up. For once in your life, just shut up." He turned his gaze to Maya. It was a pleading look. "How?" he asked simply. "How do you have that number?" "That ledger is in a safe in my home office. It's encrypted on a server that isn't connected to the internet." Maya smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're right, Mr. Smith. The ledger is secure. But humans are not. Humans are sloppy, especially when they are arrogant." She walked closer to the table, ignoring the whispers of the diners around them. She picked up the wine list, flipping it shut with a sharp snap. "You called me illiterate, Mrs. Smith," Maya said, her voice carrying to the back of the room. "You mocked my shorthand. You assumed that because I serve you food, my mind must be empty." Maya gestured to the notepad Vanessa had thrown on the table. "That scribble you laughed at. That is the International Phonetic Alphabet, combined with a forensic coding system used by linguistic profilers. I wasn't just writing down your order, I was noting the syntax of your conversation. I was analyzing the stress patterns in your speech when you talked about the charity, and I was cross-referencing it with the documents I've spent the last 6 months studying." "Studying?" Rowan wiped sweat from his upper lip. "Who are you?" "My name is Maya Brooks," she said. "I am a PhD candidate at Columbia University. My thesis is titled Linguistic Markers of Deception in Corporate Philanthropy. And for the last year, the Smith Foundation has been my primary case study." Vanessa laughed, a nervous, high-pitched sound. "A student? You're a student?" "Oh, Rowan, this is Rich. She's writing a school paper. Who cares? Let her write her little essay. Nobody reads those things." "They do when the Department of Justice is looking for a roadmap," Maya said softly. Vanessa stopped laughing. "You see," Maya continued, pacing slowly around their table like a shark circling a life raft. "You made a mistake, Mrs. Smith. You mentioned earlier that you wrote the bylaws for the new charitable trust yourself. You bragged about it. So," Vanessa crossed her arms, "I'm a brilliant writer, unlike you." "You have a distinct linguistic fingerprint," Maya explained, slipping into lecture mode. You overuse the subclause modifier. You have a tick where you confuse insure and insure, and you have a very specific way of structuring passive voice sentences to avoid liability. I've seen that same writing style in the anonymous threatening letters sent to the zoning board members last month, and I saw it in the leaked memos regarding the offshore shell companies. Maya leaned in, placing her hands on the white tablecloth. I didn't need to break into your safe, Rowan. I just had to read what Vanessa wrote in public and connect the dots. The account number on that napkin? That wasn't a guess. That was a calculation based on the routing numbers visible in the photo of the charity check you posted on Instagram last week. You didn't blur the bottom of the check, Vanessa. You thought no one would notice. You thought we were all too illiterate to read the numbers. The silence in the restaurant was absolute. Even the music seemed to have been cut. Every diner was leaning in. Phones were raised, recording every second. Rowan looked at his wife with pure horror. You posted the check. The check from the Zurich account? I wanted people to see the donation amount, Vanessa stammered, her face flushing a deep, ugly red. It was for clout. I didn't think anyone would zoom in on the little numbers at the bottom. That little number, Maya said, is the routing key for an account that, according to my research, has laundered approximately $40 million in the last 3 years. Maya straightened up and looked at the crowd. So, Mrs. Smith, you asked me to leave. I'm happy to go. But I think the police might want to see my scribbles before I do. The atmosphere in the room shifted from shock to judgment. The wealthy patrons of Lobsidian were not moral paragons, but they understood the cardinal rule of their world. Don't get caught. And certainly don't get caught because of stupidity. They looked at Vanessa Smith not with pity, but with disgust. She had broken the code. Rowan Smith stood up. He was trembling. He looked at the phones recording him. He knew his stock price was going to crater the moment these videos hit the internet. Miss Brooks, Rowan said, his voice ragged, please, can we discuss this? Privately? Perhaps in the manager's office? I don't think that's a good idea, Maya said. I prefer the safety of witnesses. You are a powerful man, Mr. Smith. I am just a waitress. I will give you anything, Rowan hissed, desperation clawing at his throat. Tuition, a fellowship, a job. Whatever you want. Just tell them you made it up. Tell them it's a creative writing project. Vanessa, recovering slightly from her shock, tried to pivot back to anger. It was her default setting. Don't beg her, Rowan. She's bluffing. She's a nobody, a waitress who reads too many detective novels. She turned to Gavin, the manager, who was trying to merge with the wallpaper near the kitchen door. Gavin, call the police, Vanessa shrieked. She's blackmailing us. This is extortion. I want her arrested right now. If you call the police, Maya said calmly, I will hand over my phone. It contains a cloud backup of my entire thesis, including the chapter where I analyze the suicide note of your former accountant, Mr. Henderson. The mention of the name Henderson hit the table like a grenade. Rowan collapsed back into his chair. He put his head in his hands. Oh my God. Vanessa went pale. You know about Henderson? I know that the suicide note was written in a syntax that matches yours, Vanessa, not his, Maya said. Mr. Henderson was a man who used Oxford commas and short, punchy sentences. The note found by his body was flowery, run-on, and misused the word whom, just like you did in your menu order 5 minutes ago. Maya picked up the menu Vanessa had discarded. You said, I want the waiter whom is serving us to be fired. That is incorrect grammar, Mrs. Smith. It should be who. Subjective case, not objective. You made the same error in the suicide note, to whom finds this body. An accountant wouldn't make that mistake, but a socialite who thinks she sounds smart, she would. A collective gasp went through the room. This wasn't just fraud anymore. Maya was implying murder, or at least a cover-up of a murder. You are a monster, Vanessa whispered. I am a linguist, Maya corrected. Language leaves a trail. You think money covers your tracks, but your words expose you. Every time you speak, every time you write, you reveal who you are. And you, Mrs. Smith, are a fraud. Maya turned to the table of businessmen next to them. One of them, a heavy-set man with a cigar in his pocket, was live-streaming the event. Did you get that? Maya asked him. Every word, sweetheart, the man grinned. 5,000 viewers already. Good, Maya turned back to the Smiths. Now, about that tip. Rowan looked up, his eyes hollow. What? I worked this table, Maya said. I opened your wine. I took your abuse. I calculated your tax evasion. I think I deserve a tip. She pointed to the checkbook sticking out of Rowan's jacket pocket. Write a check, Maya commanded. Not to me, to the Bronx Public Library System, the one you defunded to build your private boat dock. You can't be serious, Vanessa spat. Dead serious, Maya said, and make it out for the exact amount you saved in taxes last year by funneling money through the literacy charity. I know the number. Do you want me to say it out loud? Rowan fumbled for his checkbook. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the pen, the same Mont Blanc Vanessa had used to humiliate Maya. How much? Rowan asked, defeated. $2,400,000, Maya recited instantly, and 42 cents. Rowan, don't you dare! Vanessa grabbed his arm. She's robbing us. She's saving us from prison, you idiot. Rowan shook her off. He scribbled furiously. He ripped the check out and handed it to Maya. Maya looked at it. She verified the date, the signature, the amount. Thank you, she said. She folded the check and placed it in her apron. I'll be delivering this personally tomorrow morning. If you cancel it, I release the thesis to the New York Times. She looked at Vanessa one last time. Vanessa was defeated, slumped in her chair, her diamond necklace looking like a noose around her neck. The Ice Queen had melted into a puddle of fear. You called me illiterate, Maya said, her voice soft but echoing in the silent room. But it seems you're the one who didn't read the room. Maya untied her apron. She pulled it over her head and folded it neatly, placing it on the table next to the uneaten oysters Rockefeller. I quit, she said to Gavin. She turned to walk away, her head held high. The dining room remained silent for 1 second, 2 seconds. And then the man with the cigar started clapping, then the woman at table 6, then the couple at table 2. Within moments, the entire restaurant erupted into applause. It wasn't polite golf clapping, it was a thunderous ovation. People stood up. Maya walked through the cheering crowd, her back straight, her heart pounding. She had won. She had silenced the bully. She had secured justice for her sister's library. But as she reached the heavy glass doors of the restaurant, she stopped. A man was blocking her exit. He wasn't a diner. He was tall, wearing a suit that cost more than Rowan Smith's car, and he had been standing in the shadows near the coat check the entire time. He had sharp features and eyes that looked like they had seen the end of the world and found it amusing. He blocked her path, not with aggression, but with curiosity. Excuse me, Maya said, trying to step around him. I'm leaving. I know, the man said. His voice was deep, bearing a faint, unplaceable accent. That was quite a performance, Miss Brooks. Forensic linguistics. A rare field. I'm not looking for a job, Maya said defensively, adrenaline still coursing through her veins. I just want to go home. I'm not offering you a job, the man said. He reached into his pocket. Maya tensed, expecting a weapon or a subpoena. Instead, he pulled out a business card. It was black, with nothing on it but a phone number embossed in gold. I'm offering you protection, he said, because Rowan Smith is a coward, but the people he works for, the people whose money is really in that Zurich account, they are not cowards, and they do not like loose ends. Maya stared at him. The applause in the dining room faded into the background noise of her own rising panic. Who does he work for? Maya asked. The stranger smiled grimly. You deciphered the account number, Maya, but you didn't decipher the name attached to the holding company. He leaned in close, whispering a single name into her ear. Maya's eyes went wide. The victory she had felt seconds ago evaporated, replaced by a cold dread that froze her marrow. The name he whispered wasn't a businessman. It was a ghost story, a myth of the criminal underworld that no one dared speak aloud. Run, the man said softly, and take this card. When they come for you, and they will, call me. He stepped aside, opening the door for her. Maya stepped out into the cool New York night. The city lights, usually so beautiful, now looked like watching eyes. She clutched the check for the library in one hand and the black business card in the other. She had silenced the room, but she had just woken up a beast that might swallow her whole. The heavy oak door of obsidian clicked shut behind Maya, cutting off the warmth of the restaurant. The silence of the street was jarring. It was raining, a cold, miserable New York drizzle that slicked the pavement and blurred the streetlights into streaks of neon. Maya stood on the sidewalk, shivering in her thin white blouse. She clutched the check for $2.4 million against her chest like a shield, protected only by a plastic Ziploc bag she kept in her pocket for her tips. Her phone buzzed. Then it buzzed again. And again. A continuous angry vibration against her hip. She pulled it out. Her screen was flooded with notifications. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. She was everywhere. The Waitress, who knew too much, was trending #1 in the United States. Can Vanessa Smith Exposed was #2. A video clip titled "Billionaire Wife Destroyed by Genius Waitress" had racked up 3.5 million views in 20 minutes. Comments scrolled by so fast she couldn't read them. Queen. Eat the rich. Does anyone know who she is? I want to marry her. Maya felt a wave of nausea. To the internet, she was a hero. To the people whose secrets she just spilled, she was a loose end. She looked at the black business card in her hand. No name. Just a gold-embossed number. The stranger's voice echoed in her head. Run. She started walking toward the subway, her sensible black shoes splashing in puddles. She needed to get to the Bronx. She needed to get to her sister, Clara. If the Smiths were vindictive, they wouldn't just come for Maya, they would come for her family. As she turned the corner onto 5th Avenue, a black Escalade with tinted windows slowly pulled away from the curb. It didn't speed up. It just matched her pace, crawling along the street like a predator stalking wounded prey. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. She stopped. The car stopped. She walked faster. The car accelerated smoothly. She was being hunted. Panic, cold and sharp, flooded her system. She ducked into a 24-hour pharmacy, the fluorescent light stinging her eyes. She went to the back aisle, pretending to look at shampoo, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. She peeked through the window. 2 men had exited the SUV. They weren't wearing police uniforms. They wore ill-fitting grey suits and had the thick, muscular builds of men who hurt people for a living. They weren't looking around. They were walking straight toward the glass doors with terrifying purpose. Maya pulled out the black card. Her fingers trembled as she dialed the number. It rang once. You didn't get very far, the deep voice answered. It was the man from the restaurant. They're here, Maya whispered, crouching behind a display of hair dye. 2 men, grey suits. I'm in the pharmacy on 5th and 54th. Listen to me carefully, Maya, the voice said. It was calm, devoid of fear. Those men are cleaners for the Volkov syndicate. If they touch you, you will never be seen again. Do exactly what I say. What do I do? Maya pleaded. The bell above the pharmacy door jingled. Heavy footsteps crunched on the linoleum floor. Go to the emergency exit in the back. It's alarmed. Kick the bar. The alarm will trigger. It will create chaos. But the police are 10 minutes away. These men are 10 seconds away. Kick the door. Turn left into the alley. Run until you see a silver Jaguar. Get in. How do I know I can trust you? Maya hissed. The footsteps were in the next aisle. She could smell stale tobacco and gun oil. Because I'm the only one who knows that the check in your pocket isn't just money, the man said. It's the encryption key to a nuclear arms deal. Maya froze. Nuclear arms? She thought it was tax evasion. She thought it was just greedy rich people hiding money. Found her, a gruff voice grunted from the end of the aisle. Maya looked up. One of the grey-suited men was staring at her, a small silenced pistol half drawn from his jacket. Miss Brooks, the man said, smiling without showing his teeth. Mr. Smith sends his regards. Please don't scream. Maya didn't scream. She moved. She hurled a bottle of shampoo at his face. It connected with a wet thud, shattering on his forehead. The man stumbled back, cursing. Maya turned and sprinted for the rear door. She slammed her body against the crash bar. Screech, screech, screech. The alarm was deafening. Red lights began to flash. The pharmacy staff screamed. Get her, the man yelled. Maya burst out into the rain-slicked alleyway. It was dark, smelling of rotting garbage and wet cardboard. She turned left, her feet slipping on the slime. There! A shout from behind her. She pumped her arms, her lungs burning. She saw the street ahead, and there, idling at the curb with the passenger door already open, was a sleek silver Jaguar. She didn't hesitate. She threw herself into the passenger seat. "Drive," she screamed. The man from the restaurant was behind the wheel. He slammed his foot on the gas. The Jaguar roared, tires spinning on the wet asphalt, before gripping and launching them forward. A bullet shattered the rear windshield, spraying safety glass over the back seat. Maya ducked, covering her head. "They're shooting at us." "Professional courtesy," the man said dryly, swerving through traffic with the precision of a stunt driver. "Buckle up, Miss Brooks. The night is young." The Jaguar wove through the labyrinth of Manhattan streets, eventually slowing down as they crossed the bridge into Brooklyn. The rain had turned into a torrent, washing away the blood on Maya's scraped knee. Maya sat up, brushing glass from her hair. She looked at the driver. In the passing streetlights, he looked tired. He was older than she had first thought, maybe 40, with a scar running through his left eyebrow that gave him a permanent skeptical expression. "Who are you?" Maya asked, her voice shaking but her resolve hardening. "And don't give me a riddle. I want a name." "Adrian," he said. "Adrian Blackwood." "And who are you, Adrian? FBI, CIA?" "I used to be a forensic accountant for the Treasury Department," Adrian said, checking his rearview mirror. "Now, I'm a private consultant for people who have problems the law can't fix." "And I'm a problem?" "You're a catastrophe, Maya," Adrian said, but there was a hint of admiration in his tone. "Do you realize what you did back there?" "I exposed a tax cheat." "No, you exposed a conduit." Adrian sighed, tapping the steering wheel. "Rowan Smith is a weak man. He's a puppet. The money in that Zurich account doesn't belong to him. It belongs to Dmitry Volkov, the head of the Volkov Bratva, the Russian mob." Maya felt the blood drain from her face. "The mob?" "Smith washes their money through his fake charities," Adrian explained. "He takes dirty cash from arms deals, donates it to the Smith Foundation, and then moves it to the Cayman Islands and Zurich. You didn't just insult a billionaire's wife. You cut off the cash flow for a shipment of guided missile components headed for the Middle East." Maya looked down at her hands. They were trembling. "I just wanted to save the library." "And you might have saved the world, or ended your life." "It's a coin toss right now," Adrian said. He pulled the car into a nondescript warehouse garage in an industrial park in Red Hook. The heavy metal door rolled down behind them, sealing them in darkness, until Adrian killed the engine. "Where are we?" Maya asked. "Safe house, my office, home sweet home." They got out. The warehouse was renovated on the inside, sleek, modern, filled with computer servers, monitors, and walls covered in timelines and photos. It looked like the nerve center of a war room. Adrian walked to a mini fridge and tossed Maya a bottle of water. She caught it, but her eyes were glued to a massive corkboard on the wall. In the center of the board was a picture of Rowan Smith, but connected to him by red string were dozens of other faces: judges, senators, police captains, and at the top a grainy photo of a man who looked like a ghost. Dmitry Volkov. "You've been tracking them," Maya realized. "For how long?" 3 years, Adrian said, taking a sip of whiskey he had poured for himself. "I was close to nailing Smith on a RICO charge last month, but the witness had an accident. Fell off a balcony." Maya swallowed hard. "And now I'm the witness." "You're better than a witness," Adrian said. He pointed to her pocket. "Give me the check." Maya clutched her pocket. "Why?" "Because that check is the smoking gun. It has Smith's signature, the date, and most importantly, the routing number for the Zurich account written in your handwriting, which matches the routing number on the digital ledger I stole last year." "If I give it to you, what happens to me?" Maya asked. She was analyzing his syntax again. He used I and me. He was a lone wolf. He wasn't offering protection. He was offering a trade. "If you give it to me, I can leverage it to get Volkov," Adrian said. "I can put you in witness protection. New name, new life, somewhere sunny. Arizona, maybe." Maya stared at him. She thought about her sister, Clara. Clara was halfway through her first year of college. If Maya disappeared, who would pay Clara's tuition? Who would take care of their mum's medical bills? "No," Maya said. Adrian paused. "No?" I'm not going to Arizona, Maya said. Her voice gained strength. I didn't study the language of power for 4 years just to run away when things get hard. If I disappear, Smith wins. Vanessa wins. They keep the money. They keep the power. They will kill you, Maya, Adrian said softly. This isn't a debate. They will try, Maya corrected. But they have a weakness. You said it yourself. Smith is weak. Vanessa is arrogant. Maya walked over to the wall of monitors. She saw the live feed of Twitter. The hashtag Josh and Justice for Maya was trending. Look at this, Maya said, pointing to the screen. Millions of people are watching. Volkov can't kill me while the spotlight is this bright. It would bring too much heat. He needs this to go away quietly. So we don't hide, Maya turned to Adrian, her dark eyes blazing with a dangerous idea. We go on the offensive. We make so much noise that they can't touch us without bringing down the entire US government. Adrian stared at her. A slow smile spread across his face. You're crazy. I like it. Suddenly, Maya's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It was an unknown number. Don't answer it, Adrian warned. They can trace the signal. It might be my sister, Maya said. She answered it, putting it on speaker. Hello? Is this the waitress? The voice on the other end was whispering, frantic and terrified. Maya recognized the voice instantly. It was the voice that had called her illiterate 3 hours ago. Vanessa? Maya asked. Adrian's eyes went wide. He moved closer to the phone. You have to help me, Vanessa Smith sobbed. She sounded broken. Please, you have to help me. Why would I help you? Maya asked coldly. You tried to ruin my life. Rowan is gone, Vanessa cried. They took him, the men in the grey suits. They came to the penthouse. They took him and they said I was a liability because of the video. Because of what I said about the charity. Vanessa took a jagged breath. They're coming back for me, Maya. I'm hiding in the panic room, but I don't know the code to the outer door. Rowan never told me. I can hear them drilling the lock. Maya looked at Adrian. Adrian made a cut-it motion with his hand. It's a trap, he mouthed. But Maya was listening to the syntax, the rapid breathing, the micro-tremors in the vocal cords, the chaotic sentence structure. She's not lying, Maya whispered to Adrian. She's terrified. Maya spoke into the phone. What do you want, Vanessa? I have the ledger, Vanessa whispered. The physical one, the black book Rowan keeps in the safe. I grabbed it before I ran to the panic room. If you get me out, I'll give it to you. I'll give you everything. Just don't let them kill me. The line went dead. Maya looked at Adrian. The silence in the warehouse was heavy. It's a trap, Adrian said again. Volkov is using her to lure you in. Maybe, Maya said. Or maybe the Ice Queen just realized she's not the player she thought she was. She's the pawn. Maya grabbed her coat. Where are you going? Adrian demanded. To the Upper East Side, Maya said. We need that ledger. The check is good, but the ledger is the whole map. With that book, we don't just stop a missile shipment. We take down the whole network. You're going to break into a billionaire's penthouse while Russian hitmen are drilling through the door? Adrian asked, incredulous. No, Maya said, a fierce intelligence gleaming in her eyes. I'm going to knock, and I'm going to bring a few million friends with me. She held up her phone. She opened the camera app. She hit Lev. Ready to be a cameraman, Adrian? The rain had stopped, leaving the Upper East Side slick and menacing under the glare of the streetlights. Outside the Smith penthouse, Adrian checked the clip of his pistol. This is insane, Maya, he muttered. You know that, right? It's only insane if we lose, Maya said. She held up her phone and hit the Go Live button on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube simultaneously. The notification pinged on millions of screens globally. The waitress who knew too much is live. Hello, everyone, Maya said to the camera, her voice steady. My name is Maya Brooks. Earlier, I was fired for being illiterate. Now I'm standing outside the Smith penthouse. Inside, Vanessa Smith is being held hostage by an international arms syndicate using her charity to launder money. If this feed cuts out, you know who did it. She nodded to Adrian. They sprinted into the lobby. The doorman, having seen the viral videos, silently swiped his keycard for the penthouse, terrified of being on the wrong side of history. The elevator doors opened into chaos. The foyer was wrecked, vases shattered. 2 men in grey suits spun around, guns raised. "Drop it," Adrian shouted, leveling his weapon. "Don't shoot," Maya screamed, stepping in front of the camera. "We are live. 3 million people are watching you right now." The gunmen froze. Executing a waitress in an alley was one thing. Doing it on a global live stream was suicide. They hesitated, lowering their weapons just as a scream echoed from the back of the apartment. Maya bolted past them, straight for the master bedroom. The heavy oak door to the panic room had been drilled through. Inside, huddled in a corner and clutching a black ledger, was Vanessa Smith. Standing over her was Dmitry Volkov, the ghost of the underworld, holding a silenced pistol to her temple. "Give me the book," Volkov snarled. "Let her go," Maya announced from the doorway. Volkov turned, seeing the phone in Maya's hand. He smiled, a cold, shark-like expression. "The waitress. I saw your performance. Very clever." "You can kill me," Maya said, her voice hard. "But you can't kill the signal. The FBI is watching. Interpol is watching. If you pull that trigger, you start a war you can't win." Volkov's eyes flickered. He was a businessman, not a martyr. "And," Maya stepped closer, "I know about the Agatha Protocol." Volkov stiffened. Agatha was his escape plan, a hidden identity in the Maldives known only to him. "How?" he whispered. "I read your emails, Dmitry," Maya bluffed. She hadn't read them, but she had analyzed the syntax of the notes Adrian showed her. She knew he had a contingency plan named after his favorite author. "My partner has the coordinates on a dead man's switch. If I die, the world knows where you sleep." Sirens wailed outside, growing louder. The bluff, combined with the sirens, broke him. Volkov dropped the gun. "You are good," he murmured, raising his hands, "for a waitress." "I'm not just a waitress," Maya said, kicking the gun away. "I'm a doctoral candidate, and you just failed the final exam." 2 weeks later, the courthouse steps were swarming with reporters. Rowan Smith was led away in handcuffs, facing 20 years for racketeering. Vanessa, granted immunity for surrendering the ledger, walked out a pariah, stripped of her fortune, but alive. Maya stood by the exit, Adrian beside her. "The FBI is offering you a job," Adrian said. "Senior analyst, 7 figures." Maya watched the news ticker. Smith assets seized, 400 million redistributed to public libraries. "I think I'll pass," Maya smiled. "I have a thesis to finish. Besides, I'm thinking of starting my own firm. Brooks and Blackwood. Linguistic forensics. Interested?" Adrian grinned. "I might be." A reporter thrust a microphone at her. "Miss Brooks, any comment for the people who doubted you?" Maya looked into the camera, her eyes sharp. "Just one thing. Words matter. Be careful how you use them, because you never know who is listening. And who knows how to read between the lines. And that, my friends, is how a simple waitress took down a criminal empire using nothing but her brain and a napkin. It just goes to show, never underestimate the person serving your coffee. They might just be the smartest person in the room. What did you think of Maya's quick thinking? Would you have had the courage to live stream a confrontation with the mob? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of justice served cold, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a crazy true story like this one. Share this video with a friend who needs a reminder that intelligence is the ultimate superpower. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.